Some will tell you, if you keep talking like that, if you keep thinking like that, you're gonna go to hell. But what many fail to realize is that you've already been to hell and back. For some, hell is a place of punishment. But for some of us, hell was simply a time for purification of the self.
Hell according to religious doctrine. The Quran states that God will judge each individual by his or her deeds and that heaven awaits those who have lived righteously, and hell for those who have not. Belief in the afterlife is widespread among Muslims. Majorities in all but one of the countries surveyed say they believe in heaven and in hell. In the Quranic hell, those punished will be struck by angels, drink boiling water, and eat from the tree of Zaqqum, whose fruit is like the heads of devils. On numerous occasions the Quran seems to promise unbelievers that their destiny is hellfire. Hell is an eternal abode for most who enter it. A minority of Muslim scholars hold that hell will eventually end, but a majority maintain that it is eternal. Several verses in the Quran describe hell as eternal. They will long to leave the fire, but never will they leave therefrom, and theirs will be a lasting torment. And they will never leave of the fire. Surely, those who disbelieve and did wrong, Allah will not forgive them, nor will Allah guide them to any way except the way of hell, to dwell therein forever. Surely, Allah has cursed the disbelievers, and has prepared for them a flaming fire, wherein they will abide forever. And whosoever disobeys Allah and His Messenger, then surely, for him is the fire of hell, he shall dwell therein forever. Surely, the gates of the heaven will not be opened for those who deny our revelations and treat them with arrogance. Their admission into paradise will be as impossible as the passing of a camel through the eye of a needle. That is how we shall reward the criminals. Hell shall be their bed and flames shall be their covering. That is how we shall reward the wrongdoers. Gates of hell. The unbelievers will be led to hell in crowds until, when they arrive there, its gates will be opened, and verily, hell is the promised abode for them all. It has 7 gates, to each of those gates is a specific class of sinners assigned. To them will be said, enter you the gates of hell to dwell therein. And how evil is this abode of the arrogant! But those who reject our signs are the companions of the left hand, on them will be fire vaulted over. Food of hell. The food of the people of hell is described as only increasing in torment. It does not provide nourishment nor does it relieve hunger. No food will there be for them except from a bitter, thorny plant which neither nourishes nor avails against hunger. There is a special tree in hell called Zaqqum, that people will eat from. This tree is rooted at the bottom of hell, and its branches are described as being similar to the heads of devils. Indeed, the tree of Zaqqum is food for the sinful, like murky oil. It boils within bellies, like the boiling of scalding water. Is paradise better as an abode or the tree of Zaqqum? Indeed, we have made it a torment for the wrongdoers. Indeed, it is a tree issuing from the bottom of the hellfire, its emerging fruit as if it was heads of the devils. And, indeed, they will eat from it and fill with it their bellies. Then, indeed, they will have after it a mixture of scalding water. Then, indeed, their return will be to the hellfire. Then indeed you, O those astray deniers, will be eating from trees of Zaqqum and filling with it your bellies, and drinking on top of it from scalding water, and will drink as the drinking of thirsty camels. That is their hospitality on the day of recompense. According to Christianity, Immediately after death the souls of those who die in a state of mortal sin descend into hell, where they suffer the punishments of hell, eternal fire. The chief punishment of hell is eternal separation from God, in whom alone man can possess the life and happiness for which he was created and for which he longs. Who will go to hell? Perhaps one of the clearest statements in the Bible to answer the question of who will go to hell is found in John 3 verse 18. Whoever believes in him is not condemned, but whoever does not believe is condemned already because he has not believed in the name of the only Son of God. Apart from Jesus Christ, every human stands condemned and would go to hell. When Nicodemus approached Jesus about being from God, Jesus answered him, "Truly, truly, I say unto you, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God." Throughout his ministry Jesus indicated that hell is a punishment that lasts forever. Though it was prepared as a place of punishment for Satan and his demons, hell is also where those who fail to follow Jesus will go. In 2 Thessalonians 1 verses 8 and 9, Paul writes that, "Those who do not know God and on those who do not obey the gospel of our Lord Jesus, they will suffer the punishment of eternal destruction, away from the presence of the Lord and from the glory of his might." John the Baptist warned of Jesus' treatment of those who do not believe. His winnowing fork is in his hand, and he will clear his threshing floor and gather his wheat into the barn, but the chaff he will burn with unquenchable fire. Hell is mentioned 167 times in the Bible. Sometimes it is named Gehenna, Hades, the pit, the abyss, or everlasting punishment. Jesus talked about heaven and hell being real. Once, Jesus told a story about a man named Lazarus in heaven and a rich man in hell. Luke 16. King James Version. 1. And he said also unto his disciples, There was a certain rich man, which had a steward, and the same was accused unto him that he had wasted his goods. 2. And he called him, and said unto him, How is it that I hear this of thee? Give an account of thy stewardship, for thou mayest be no longer steward. 3. Then the steward said within himself, What shall I do? For my Lord taketh away from me the stewardship, I cannot dig, to beg I am ashamed. 4. I am resolved what to do, that, when I am put out of the stewardship, they may receive me into their houses. 5. So he called every one of his Lord's debtors unto him, and said unto the first, How much owest thou unto my Lord? 6. And he said, 100 measures of oil. And he said unto him, Take thy bill, and sit down quickly, and write 50. 7. Then said he to another, And how much owest thou? And he said, 100 measures of wheat. And he said unto him, Take thy bill, and write 80. 8. And the Lord commended the unjust steward, because he had done wisely. For the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light. 9. And I say unto you, make to yourselves friends of the mammon of unrighteousness, that, when ye fail, they may receive you into everlasting habitations. 10. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much, and he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much. 11. If therefore ye have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches? 12. And if ye have not been faithful in that which is another man's, who shall give you that which is your own? 13. No servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one, and love the other, or else he will hold to the one, and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. 14. And the Pharisees also, who were covetous, heard all these things, and they derided him. 15. And he said unto them, Ye are they which justify yourselves before men, but God knoweth your hearts, for that which is highly esteemed among men is abomination in the sight of God. 16. The law and the prophets were until John. Since that time the kingdom of God is preached, and every man presseth into it. 17. And it is easier for heaven and earth to pass, than one tittle of the law to fail. 18. Whosoever putteth away his wife, and marrieth another, committeth adultery, and whosoever marrieth her that is put away from her husband committeth adultery. 19. There was a certain rich man, which was clothed in purple and fine linen, and fared sumptuously every day. 20. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate, full of sores. 21. And desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table, moreover the dogs came and licked his sores. 22. And it came to pass, that the beggar died, and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died, and was buried. 23. And in hell he lift up his eyes, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom. 24. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus, that he may dip the tip of his finger in water, and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. 25. But Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receivedst thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things, but now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. 26. And beside all this, between us and you there is a great gulf fixed, so that they which would pass from hence to you cannot, neither can they pass to us, that would come from thence. 27. Then he said, I pray thee therefore, Father, that thou wouldest send him to my father's house. 28. For I have 5 brethren, that he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torment. 29. Abraham saith unto him, They have Moses and the prophets, let them hear them. 30. And he said, Nay, Father Abraham, but if one went unto them from the dead, they will repent. 31. And he said unto him, If they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead.
I have a question. Are people afraid to believe what religious doctrine says? Or are people programmed to be afraid not to believe what religious doctrine says? %90 of the people on this planet will agree with the latter, that you have been made afraid not to believe. It's easy to be lured into something. Your love is titillated, to be led in. And then as time goes on, you're programmed to fear that which you love, which is your creator. And then after you've been made to be afraid of what you loved unconditionally, now all these different things are imposed upon you by way of religious doctrine. Now you're being made afraid to not believe something. This whole idea of dying and going to this place called hell has been the primary control device that religion has forever used in order to control the minds of the human family. It has always been such. Always been such. One of the main tools that mankind has always used to control the sheep who've given themselves to religious doctrine has forever been fear. Forever been fear. And not love. It has always been fear. No matter what religion that you've given yourself to, whether it's Islam, Christianity, or anything else, religion has always been a tool used through fear. It has always been such. As many as myself who are thinking human beings, who are not afraid to question anything and everything, are the primary ones, I use the word primary a lot, are the primary ones who are always threatened of this place called hell that we're supposed to reside in, simply because we don't believe a whole lot of what religion implies. It's a dictatorship. You either believe what we tell you to believe in our particular sect, or you're going to hell. It's always been such. You know, in the Bible, it says that when Lucifer fell under the influence of Satan and he rebelled against God, you know, he got a third of the angels and he influenced them to go against God. And the Creator cast Lucifer out of the heavenly plane and down here on earth. So obviously the earth was created before all of this transpired. And due to the fact that the earth was the place that the Creator chose to send Lucifer and the angels to, what was the earth created for? Obviously, the earth was created for those who rebel against the principles of divinity that God had established in heaven. So is the earth hell? Is the earth the punishing place? I mean, obviously, because he sent Lucifer here. So who are we? So we were sent down here to replenish the earth, to populate the planet. For what? Did the Creator show compassion for Lucifer? How come he didn't just wipe Lucifer out along with the third of the angels? According to the Bible, God showed compassion for Lucifer and sent Lucifer down here to this planet. That God obviously created for those who rebel. And here we are. So religion comes along. It took a righteous human being by the name of Yeshua and injected this man's light into their religious doctrine. Because Yeshua was not a religious man. Yeshua was a spiritual being. He was a spiritual man who actually did not agree with the religious scholars, the scribes and the Pharisees. You know the story. I don't have to go through it in order to please any of you. And the church worked along with the government to have gotten rid of Yeshua. I mean, I've even heard some brothers say that it was an assassination. It was like a religious and political assassination. Religion wants to say that it was meant to happen. This was all prophecy. It was meant to happen. Who knows? We sure as hell don't know for certain. We're just left with information that we have to believe. But none of us know if any of this was indeed a fact. None of us really knows. But I will say one thing. Elijah Muhammad, this is one truth that he spoke. You don't have to die in order to go to hell, and you don't have to die in order to go to heaven. But we're going to deal with the whole hell concept, because I feel that I'm one of the people who are definitely qualified to speak on this, because I've been going through hell all my life. I've been denied everything. I've been walking through hell all of my life. And most of the people who took me through the fires of hell, which is a condition and not a place of where you're going to be burning forever. They took me through this hell, but going through the hell, it made me who I am today. But it doesn't justify what happened. The results is I survived it. And the decisions that I made, I will never make them again. And that's even in my social life. Certain people I cut off. Certain family members, I cut them completely off. Certain friends, I've cut them completely off, because they help purify me to the point to where my thinking is pure now, because I'll never repeat those thoughts ever again. I will never make those decisions ever again. You don't have to die. Hell is not a place where you're going to be sent to and you're going to burn forever. I mean, what's the point of all of these people claiming that they're so righteous and we have this righteous creator and the prophets and all of that, and then they send you to a place to where they say those who don't follow these religious doctrines are going to burn forever. They're going to be punished forever. How can you be punished forever? Doesn't a punishment means a time of reformation, to where you have the beginning of the punishment and the ending of the punishment? I know that some of the Muslim scholars, they said that there is a certain time element that you're going to spend in hell, that you may be purified. The same as you boiling hot water in order to purify it. And you make it pure. You're going to suffer in hell for a specific amount of time, to where your thinking process and everything that is going on within your spirit is going to be purged. And what's going to be left of you is a human being that has been purified. Those thoughts and those feelings are no longer inside of you. They've been burnt out through suffering and pain. That's just like everyday life. Everybody goes through suffering and pain. This is what the stress, the depression, the anger, the confusion, all of those things. We go through all of those things. And those who survive are purified through the hell that they had to go through during those challenges and during those trials that other human beings put you through. But it seems like to me, the most the cruelest people on this planet are people who are always seen with Bibles and Qurans in their hands. They are the most unforgiving people, and these are the main people who support this cruelty that is written down of this place called hell. Every time you turn around, these people are trying to tell you, as my video opened up, if you keep thinking like that, if you keep talking like that, you're going to go to hell. And what are you doing? You're not doing anything but speaking your mind. At least you're being honest. You're not somewhere quoting some book that you really, in fact, don't believe it. You're just quoting it, asserting that this is how you're living. I bumped into so many people like that. When I was out there speaking in the 90s, I went into isolation for 5 years. At least I wanted to. But then after 1 year, as another one of my videos explained, I was pulled out of my isolation period, and I took the chance and I got into another ministry named Exalt Ministries, and met a whole bunch of people who were demonic, manipulative, all of those things, you name it. But I survived that. It wasn't easy, but I survived it. But the main people that are walking around here telling you you're going to go to hell and all of that, those are the people who really want you to suffer the cruelty that is in those scriptures, whether they're in the Bible or the Quran. And that goes to show you how evil and inhumane they are as so-called human beings. How can a human being who has been condemned to hell forever be punished? An ongoing punishment. It's a life sentence, huh? Down in hell. And you got this God, according to religious doctrine, watching you burn for eternity. You're drinking boiling hot water and you're eating from a contaminated tree. And that's supposed to be humane. When we sit up and read that, how's that supposed to make us feel? That's supposed to make us afraid. Ooh, I don't want to go there, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to submit. So what are you bound to? You bound to the Creator? Or are you bound to fear? Has the religious scholars created another God for you to bow down to, named fear? Because if that is the root and the motivation of your submission, then the religious scholars and these religions have shaped and molded a God for you to bow down to. And it ain't the creator. It is fear. You're bowing down to fear. Fear is your God, not the creator. If you're under a law and you submit to the law, the root of your submitting to that law is fear. Because if I don't submit to this law and pretend as though I agree with it and motivate my actions every day as if I agree by way of this law, it's still rooted in fear. You're still not being honest. You're supposed to be good for the sake of goodness. And being good for the sake of goodness is demonstrating morality and therefore humanity towards your other human being for the sake of making the society and environment a better place to exist. Like Yeshua said, the kingdom of God is within you. It is within you. Now, if you really take that as a fact and understand that you are part of this humanity, and because of your love for humanity, not because you're commanded to be righteous, or you're under a law and you're following a law, but if you do it for the sake of goodness, then that's what the Creator loves you for. You do good for the sake of goodness, for goodness' sake, not because you're commanded to do it, not because you're under a law. As I had explained in another one of my videos, and David doesn't care if you agree with him or not. I don't care. When Yeshua said, I come not to destroy the law, but to fulfill it. Fulfilling it. After the commandment and the laws have been fulfilled and therefore manifested by way of action, then you're not under the law anymore. You are a manifestation of divine principles. You are no longer under the law because you don't need it anymore. And the Word became flesh. Now, if the Word becomes flesh, then you're not under the law anymore. That's what that means. When you're no longer a part of a doctrine and you understand what it means to be a human being, you don't have to be concerned about when you close your eyes, are you going to go to heaven or am I going to burn in hell and all that? It's just a tool to make you afraid of being yourself. That's all it is. It's just a tool to make you afraid of being yourself. Now, whatever type of human being you decide to be, that's between you and yourself and the Creator. That's between you and the Creator and yourself. But what I would hope for all of us to be interested in is making this earth a better place to live, and stop allowing these religions to make you afraid and make you a hypocrite and make you fake and keep you separated from knowing what a real human being is. Because religion, as I said before, has done nothing but separate humanity in different sects: Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, Hanbali, Hanafi, and everybody's looking at each other, disagreeing with one another. And in between everyone, it's nothing but a bunch of conflict, because I've seen it too many times. That ministry that I was involved in, Exalt Ministries, we used to so-called celebrate the Sabbath. And everybody at that table was hating me, simply because me and this sister in the ministry started loving each other. And I was hated simply because I loved someone. That's all it was. Imagine sitting at a dinner table celebrating the Sabbath, and every single person at that table is hating you for no damn reason. You haven't done anything wrong. You haven't done anything. Religion. That's why I pull away from religious people. And that's why Yeshua pulled away from religious people. It is the religious community and the political community that you have to pull yourself from. As he said, my kingdom is not of this world. He was a spiritual man. He wasn't a religious man. He fulfilled everything that the religious world had to offer him. He fulfilled it. He didn't need it. And they turned against him. And it was the religious world who worked along with the political world and caused his crucifixion. You know the story. I'm very tired right now. So I'm going to cut this short. I meant to be a little bit more accurate, because I'm suffering from exhaustion right now. But a sister had asked me when I mentioned that back in the 90s, I was going to go into isolation and I was going to study for 5 years. And she asked me, if you were out there speaking and the church had rejected you, then why did you go into a studying period for 5 years? Is it that they felt like you didn't know what you were talking about? The reason why the church attacked me is because I was a spiritual man. And I understood the man's message. And his message was beyond an institution called church. It was beyond that. I'm a spiritual man. And the church didn't like that, because I wouldn't follow up under their rulership and their dictatorships. Because the church institution is just that. It's just an institution. That's all it is. But don't you let nobody tell you that you're gonna go to hell and you're gonna burn in the fires of hell and all the rest of that nonsense. And this tree that's supposed to be that down in hell that the Muslims are talking about, where did you get this information? Who brought this information back to you and told you about it? Well, Allah revealed that to Prophet Muhammad. So now I'm left to believe that, right? I'm left to believe that. Make that a fact to me, and you can't do it. A person who believes that can't tell me that it's a fact. See, all of this stuff is imposed on you for one purpose: to make you afraid. It's easy for you to believe it. It's easy to believe. It's easy to believe it, but they make you afraid of not believing. When you wake up and you start asking questions and you look in the Bible and the Quran and you see things that are not making any logical sense, it's not that once you start waking up, you say, okay, this is not making sense. Because I went to a lot of pastors. I even sat in their homes, away from the church and away from the deacons and the assistant pastors. I've sat and I've talked with pastors in their homes. Explain this to me. Explain this and that to me. Explain this. If I'm wrong, help me. Help me to understand where I'm wrong at. None of them. None of them could explain where I was wrong. None of them could explain that I was wrong. I even had a pastor right here told me, the people are not ready to hear you. That pastor is no longer with us anymore. Rest in peace. But he said, the people are not ready to hear you. He said, you're an end times man. And so in so many words, he was telling me to leave his church. And I did. It's no big deal. But he told me the people who he was preaching to were not ready to hear you. So he was basically telling me, you showed up in the church too early, or you don't belong in the church. Simply because I was telling them there's a church on every corner on the west side of this city, Las Vegas. And within a 6-block radius, you have 22 churches within a 6-block radius, north, south, east, and west, which is supposed or should be the most civilized area in Las Vegas, but it's the most uncivil. Why? I was questioning, why is the west side of Las Vegas the most uncivil when it should be the most civil, because there's a church on every corner? It's because they were not and are still not going to the lost sheep. They said that the people should come to them. I said, you're going against your own book. You're going against what the Messiah said. You're going against what Yahshua said. He said, go to the lost sheep. Go to them. Go to them. How can the people who are considered lost come to you? If they're lost, they won't be able to find you if they're lost. And then when you walk the streets over there, like I did back in the 90s, and you asked the drug dealers, the prostitutes, the drug users, and the drug pushers about their church experience, a lot of them can tell you exactly what church they went to on that west side. And when you ask them what happened, they will tell you, didn't help me. So in other words, someone wasn't telling you the truth. There's a whole lot of young men on that west side that try to go to church, but they're condemned simply because of their attire. And so you're pushing these young men back out into the killing fields. And then the next thing you know, you're going to a funeral. Now you want to speak up for this young man. The same young men that you push away, you push them into a grave, and now you want to speak at their funerals. And it's those people who are going to hell. This hell that you talk about. Now, if this hell does exist in this ground, I expect to see you there because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. It's people like you who don't do what you're supposed to do. You don't even follow your book. And even outside of the book, it's only humane to reach out to those who are suffering mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It is only humane for you to reach out to people and not condemn them because of their condition. Like I used to walk with a brother all the time. And every time we spoke to some people, if they didn't take in what he said, he walked away from them. He condemned them because he thought that he was Yeshua. He thought that he was Yahweh or whatever you want to call it. He had a narcissist type attitude. You either believe what I say or to hell with you. That's the same attitude that the religious world had. This is the reason why y'all write that bullshit. And you want people to be afraid. You're going to say, oh, you're going to go to hell and you're going to eat from this tree that's going to have heads of devils, and you're going to burn and you're going to drink this hot boiling water because you didn't believe what Allah says. You didn't follow what Yeshua and God says. All of this inhumane. What happened to forgiveness? What happened to God's love is lasting, everlasting? However, you got a place called hell, a place where you send all of those that you condemn into this place called hell, to where they're going to burn eternally. And you have conscious of this happening. So what is it? Do you take pleasure in seeing people burn forever? What type of God is that? So I'm supposed to believe that a God like that is divine. It's a lot going on, y'all. Y'all better start thinking about this stuff. But it's easy. It's easy. The only thing you have to understand is how to be a human being. See, the Beatitudes wasn't about process, a process. He didn't say that to become. He said just be yourself. He's basically telling you, you already have what it takes inside. It is not a process. He said be, not become. See, become implies time. Be implies you already have what it takes within. Just be yourself. Act on love. What's inside you, the love that's inside of you, just act on it. The love inside of us has intelligence. You see something wrong? Intelligence tells you to resolve it. Do whatever you have to do to resolve it. If you're crossing the street and you see a car coming towards you, speeding, what do? Do you stop, do you stop in the middle of the street while the car is coming to you? Like, who's driving that car? Why is he speeding? See, that's not intelligence. Because you're thinking. That's not intelligence. See, intelligence sees the danger and acts. You don't cross the street and see a car coming and say, why is he speeding? See, because while you're doing that, the car is getting closer and eventually you're going to get hit. See, when you're crossing the street and you see a car speeding your way, intelligence tells you, get out of the way, and you act. That's intelligence. When I was in the fields, I would go to these churches and tell them, we need to go beyond these doors and go out there to the people and talk to these people. And not always quoting scriptures. You have to talk to them and understand, talk to them. And you have to listen.
How did you get here? What type of addiction do you have? Well, I'm an alcoholic. I'm a drug addict. What happened to you that brought you to this point? Find out what's going on with them intellectually, spiritually. Find out. You have to listen to them. You can't say, no, you be quiet. You listen to me. Yeshua said such and such a thing. You have to communicate with the people. And the only way that you're going to be able to effectively communicate with the people, you have to first listen to them. But the only way that you are going to be able to listen to them, you have to love them enough to go outside of your church doors, and you have to go to the lost sheep. You have to go to them. A sheep that is lost can't find you. But how do you find them? You have to go beyond your institution and out in the fields. And you have to talk to them, and that takes love. That takes compassion. You have to go to them. Those people are not the ones who are in danger of hellfire. It's you. It's the pastors. It's the so-called servants of Allah and Yahweh. It's you. You are the ones who are in danger because you have no humanity on the inside. You're so busy condemning the people that you can't help them. You can't help them because you don't love them. They're hood rats to you. You can't help who you've already condemned. And this is why Yeshua was telling his disciples when he was on his way to Matthew's place, when they said, you can't sit in there with all of those people. Those people are going to contaminate you. Yeshua had told them, the way you're thinking, those people are going to make it to the kingdom of heaven before you. He said, I will enter any home where I'm welcome. Any home. And he's not always talking about a building or a house. He's talking about the heart. I will enter any home where I'm welcome. So the people are out there suffering. The people are out there lost. It's the reason why they're not walking through your church doors, because they're lost. Those are your sheep, your lost sheep. So when are you going to step outside of yourself and outside of your church institutions and go to them? This is the reason why the book says God's judgment is going to start first in the places that assert to be the house of God. You're going to be judged first and foremost. You want to know why? Because you have committed the greatest crime. The greatest crime. Now, most people will say, it's going to be the government that's going to be judged first. No, it's going to be the church, because you have done the most damage. Now think about it. We all know the evil that the United States government has done abroad the earth. Or let's just say the governments abroad the earth have done. The bloodshed, the wars, the famine, the plagues, the diseases through wars and chemical warfares and all of those things. The Creator doesn't see those things as a primary thing. He sees the church institution. You people are going to be judged first and foremost, and then imagine you're being judged even before the governments of the planet. You don't even understand the magnitude of the damage that you're doing to this earth right now. You can't even see it because you are too busy walking around thinking that you're saints. How the hell are you saints? And say that you're sinners at the same time. Praise the Lord, saints, and everybody in the church is saying, praise the Lord. And yet saying, I am a sinner, a sinner, a sinner. Think about it. A sinner is a person who sins. I'm a sinner. It's what I do. It's explaining not only what the title implies, it's telling you what this person does. I'm a sinner. I sin. I'm a sinner. But I'm a saint too. If you claim them both, guess what you are? You're a hypocrite. And if you look all through your book, Yeshua was called a bastard by the church. And if you look, he didn't get upset. But he did get upset behind hypocrisy. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees. That's the only place in the Bible where you're going to find that Yeshua got angry and raised his voice. It was behind hypocrisy. It was behind hypocrisy. So before y'all continue to go back to condemning the rest of the world simply because people don't want to follow your religion or sex and all of that, you better check yourself. That's what you need to do. You need to check yourself because you are the wicked. The majority of the most wicked people that I've ever met in my life are walking around with a Bible or a Quran in their hand because they don't understand or they don't even want to know what it means to be a human being. Because everything that I shared with you before this video came on, when it talks about the hellfires and all of that is totally inhumane. Totally inhumane. You either do what I say or you going to hell. We're going to throw you in the fires of hell and you're going to burn forever. And how do you know I'm going to be burning forever? You're going to be watching me burn forever? How humane is that? Whatever happened to forgiveness? Whatever happened to counseling people? Whatever happened? What happened to that? So you mean to tell me that your mind and your doctrines can't get through to me to the degree you can't convince a person that is deemed as a rebellious one and you're going to blame them simply because of what you know can't penetrate through their rebellion and put them in check? Is it death? Is it in fact them with the problem? Or is it that you don't have enough wisdom and intelligence to reach them that they may be reformed? That's what you are going to have to figure it out. You figure that out. Have they failed or have you failed them? Who has failed humanity? Who has failed humanity?
It was a brother down there that was trying to accuse me of pacification, but I was telling him, what's the closest to being in the spirit of holiness? Aggression or pacification? I'm not trying to pacify anyone. I was just pointing out some things on divine behavior that we should always not only execute towards one another, but people in general. And if the people in the world or in the community need to become better, and if you guys are the examples, then that betterment must begin with you in order for it to flourish into the community. But as long as everyone is at each other's throat within the group, then you won't be able to spread that, I would say, good news or decent behavior to anyone. The only thing you would be spreading is hypocrisy, And I was even telling them that, of course, we have a whole lot of major problems with Black women. And at the same time, we claim that we're disappointed in Black women. However, when we see the Black women that this community is disappointed in, we don't help these Black women who are in darkness by attacking them for being in darkness. We have to help these Black women come out of darkness, because if you just continue to attack them in their state of being, the only thing that you're going to do because of their own rebellion against themselves is encourage that which you criticize. You're just going to encourage it. And that's all that's been going on in the community when it comes to the Israelite community and their attitudes and their motivation towards Black women.
When I was in the fields, I would go to these churches and tell them, we need to go beyond these doors and go out there to the people and talk to these people. And not always quoting scriptures. You have to talk to them and understand, talk to them. And you have to listen. How did you get here? What type of addiction do you have? Well, I'm an alcoholic, I'm a drug addict. What happened to you that brought you to this point? Find out what's going on with them intellectually, spiritually. Find out. You have to listen to them. You can't say, no, you be quiet, you listen to me. Yeshua said such and such a thing. You have to communicate with the people. And the only way that you're going to be able to effectively communicate with the people, you have to first listen to them. But the only way that you are going to be able to listen to them, you have to love them enough to go outside of your church doors, and you have to go to the lost sheep. You have to go to them. A sheep that is lost can't find you. But how do you find them? You have to go beyond your institution and out in the fields. And you have to talk to them, and that takes love. That takes compassion. You have to go to them. Those people are not the ones who are in danger of hellfire. It's you. It's the pastors. It's the so-called servants of Allah and Yahweh. It's you. You are the ones who are in danger because you have no humanity on the inside. You're so busy condemning the people that you can't help them. You can't help them because you don't love them. They're hood rats to you. You can't help who you've already condemned.
Okay, tonight I decided to go down there and discuss something vital with the Israelite community. The elder who walked me to my car last night under the name Tyreek, he said that it was okay to mention his name. Him and I had a conversation earlier this afternoon, and the young man down there, who I won't mention, the one who had accused me of pacification, I told Tyreek over the phone, I said I was trying to imply that the brothers need to become more humble. And I was also explaining to Tyreek that when you are an individual who carries a lot of information, sometimes what reveals you not to be able to handle the weight of that information is your lack of humility, because you need a state of humility in order to distribute that information effectively without offending anyone. So he had agreed, and plus the young man thought that I was an agent. I went through that when I was with the Nation of Islam. There was a brother down at the Nation of Islam in Mosque 75 out here in Las Vegas who had accused me numerous times of being a government agent. But I had explained to Tyreek, and I told him about my experience in the Nation of Islam on that same accusation. I told him that you have to actually be doing something to draw the attention of a FBI agent. In order for the FBI to actually put someone in your group, you actually have to be doing something. So basically what I'm saying is that there was no need for an agent to be implanted in the Nation of Islam out here in Las Vegas at Mosque 75, because the Nation of Islam wasn't doing anything. And that goes for this new developing Israelite community out here as such. So with that being said, I had told him that I wasn't an agent. And because I was accused of such, in order to make everyone feel comfortable in their development, I felt like, yeah, I'll come down there and I'll talk to everybody. And at the same time, I could give some advice on their approach, with their work. And this way, I can explain to them how to distribute the information that they do have and not offend people to the degree that they're actually become interested in what they're talking about. So I went down there, and the young man came up to me. He shook my hand, and everything. And I explained to him, I heard that, you had accused me of being a government agent. He said, man, I didn't mean that. I said, I hope you did mean that, because I primarily came down here so that you will feel comfortable that I'm not. So as we sat down and we got into a conversation, I had got to the point to where I told them what I would like to do is bring up the issue of black women and how you guys can actually get across to them a whole lot more better than you have previously, you know. And so I was explaining to them about the dual nature of encouragement. And the dual nature of encouragement is that we could either encourage somebody to do better, or we can make the mistake through our zeal and our aggression to encourage people to continue to do what they're doing, even if it's against their own well-being. And so I had explained to them that if you look in your Bible, when Yeshua had came upon people who were possessed of demons, he didn't speak directly to the host. He spoke to the demon that was within the host. So therefore, he loved the host enough to come to free them of the evil principalities, you might as well say, that was ruling them inside. So he loved the host, but he hated the evil entity within the host. And this is what I was telling them that you're going to have to understand. You can encourage them to do better, or you can encourage them to continue to do what they're doing. Because if you condemn the host along with the evil principles within them, due to the fact that their hearts and minds is currently on doing the darkness within, the only thing you're going to do by condemning them is encourage them to continue down the dark path that they're on. And we cannot forget, in spite of our disappointment with black women, how much we love the black woman. We love them, period. We're very angry at them because we're very disappointed with them. And our anger comes from the fact that we love them and we want them. We want black women. And it's not only because they are of the same community. Black women are not only beautiful externally, but we know the beauty within the black woman because we've had many examples through the many years, especially a man as myself, who is 61 years old. Now, this younger generation, in regards to the young man who accused me of pacification and being this government agent, I believe he's 30 or 31 years old. And I'm not asserting that he doesn't know anything, but due to the fact that I've been here much longer than him, I've had the opportunity to see black women as they should be in opposition of how black women are this day as they should not be. So you have a lot of Israelite brothers who are much younger than me, who are in their 30s and their even their early 40s, who are very disappointed with the status, with the moral status of black women this day. And that generation, I would say from the 20s to the 30s to the early or even mid 40s, all they see is black women who are investing themselves in the dark side or the immoralities of the world. This is all they know. This is all they know. However, instinctively, black men, when they condemn the behavior of black women, they instinctively know that black women are better than where they are right now. And so the disappointment comes from knowing that black women are better than what they are. However, when you find yourself disappointed and hurt, those two living forces, disappointment and
and hurt, it cultivates a hatred towards the host because you know that the host is better than what they are currently. So what it is, we get so caught up in our hurt and our disappointment that the information that we carry within ourselves becomes very heavy to us because our hurt and our disappointment has made us morally weak inside, and therefore the information that we carry becomes more of a weight on us when it really is not. We've just been made weakened and made hurt by our disappointment because we love these women so much. And so the information becomes heavy. And so we speak through our hurt and our disappointment at Black women. And when we distribute the information becomes condemning and therefore non-encouraging to the women, because we have lost our love inside, have been compromised. So what I mean by that is that our strong love for Black women has slowly been compromised by the way Black women have compromised their love for themselves. So as we observe this as Black men, you might as well say, we compromise our love as well due to the fact that this Black woman have compromised her love to herself. And so when we come across with this information, our information is compromised through the zeal of this made hate inside of us in opposition to the love that we should have inside of Black women in spite of their current moral status. I hope that this is very much understood. And so we have to understand that encouragement has a dual nature to it. You can either encourage people to do better, or you can encourage people to remain where they are or do worse. And what is meant by that is that the majority of our Black women today, they view us in the same light. And so you have to be careful on how you distribute information. When you see these Black women walking past you while you're out there, I'm speaking to the Israelite community. When you see these Black women walking past them, past you, what Black women need to hear and what they need to know is that they're still loved. Because I'm gonna tell you something. From conversing with a whole lot of Black women, most Black women today they talk this, we're the most hated and we're the most unprotected women on the planet, but we're the most educated, and therefore due to the fact that I have a degree and all of these things, I don't need no one to love me. So what they do, their educational status manipulates them to think that they don't need love. And it really doesn't matter how educated you are. It really doesn't matter how rich you are. Every human being on this earth wants to be loved because every human being on this earth needs to be loved. And it really doesn't matter what your status is, male or female, educated or non-educated, rich or poor. It is love in which we all need in this living journey. So I was explaining to these brothers tonight that your approach towards these Black women needs to be rooted in love. I don't care how they're dressed. I don't care if they're standing there yelling at you, telling you to be quiet, what reveals you as a dedicated and real Israelite is to not allow how they dress and how they yell at you and how they approach you to detract you from what you are out there doing for the Creator as well as them. They're gonna be angry at you. They're gonna mock you. They're gonna tell you, shut up. They're gonna do all of those things. You wanna know why? Because of what's sitting up inside of them today. But you have to love them in order to help them. You can't allow the hate that has been imbued inside of you because of their compromising of themselves to put you in the position to where you see them as most black men see them today, and you condemn them. You know, because you can't condemn black women and say that you're trying to help them at the same time. So what we have to understand primarily is that it doesn't matter how we feel. It doesn't matter if you know these women personally or not. The only way that these women are going to get better spiritually and morally, men of morality, the Israelites, the Christian, the Muslims, we have to understand that if love is not at the root of your approach, then it's never going to have whatever you tell them is never going to have a transforming effect on them. You want to draw women towards you in order to listen to you. That way they will see the value in what you are saying, and they will consider changing for the better because you didn't condemn them. You know, when Yeshua walked into that dark valley that he went through, he didn't condemn the host along with the darkness that was within them. He condemned the darkness, and he explained the evil principles of these darkness, this area of darkness within them. And when he helped them understand that there is in fact an evil enemy inside of them, and their submission to this entity, this evil entity inside of them, made them enemies of themselves. So therefore, there was an enemy within, in which made them an enemy of themselves because of their submission to it. So once it was realized that they were possessed by an evil spirit, whether it's very graphic or based upon the immoralities of principles of action, he helped them understand the error of their ways. And so once they refused to claim ownership to the degree they separated themselves from this evil entity, then it wasn't their ways anymore. And when that happened, you starve that evil entity within. And as they say, once you resist evil, it flees from you because you're not giving it your attention, your mind to it anymore. And it flees from you because it's starving now, because it has nothing else of you to feed upon. And so when you come at these sisters, you have to come at them in a loving spirit and a caring spirit. And that's the only way that they are going to know that they're still loved by black men. And this is the only reason why we're standing out here. You're not standing out there for yourself. You're standing out there for an entire community. And I'm going to say this, and you can accept this or not. It really doesn't matter to me. But even when you see some Caucasian women out there, what is the point of you speaking of how black women shouldn't dress as such, and you see white women dressing the same way? And the reason why I mention that is because I see a whole lot of Israelite communities inviting white men into their communities, which I think is a good thing, because that makes a lot of Israelite communities primarily focus on the principles of righteousness instead of the Nation of Islam sounding material that we're so used to hearing. So when it all boils down to it, we all need to do better. No matter what community we were forced to consider ourselves a part of, whether it's black, white. I've even seen some Hispanic Israelites. I've even seen those out here. You know? I offer this. A man had asked me one time, and I think I mentioned this in another one of my videos. He asked me, what is one of your biggest fears in life outside of something happening to your sons? I told him, my biggest fear is waking up one day and there are no more black women on this planet. Imagine, brothers, imagine, in spite of what you're seeing today, imagine waking up one morning and you're walking out in this world and your eyes cannot witness gracing not one black woman on this earth. To me, that's terrifying. Yeah, black women are difficult. Black women are loose. Black women are complicated. However, we have to take accountability for that state of mind. We have to take accountability. Now, we're not responsible, a lot of us are not responsible for her entire condition. However, we still know their conditions. We all know what needs to be done better. And the only way that we will be able to resolve this problem that we have with black women, we have to resolve our problems as black men. The anger, the slander, the hatred for them, I've been there, bro. I know. That's why I know that I can speak on this. But beneath all of the disappointment and the hurt, because that's all it is, we're disappointed and we're hurt. You want to know why? Because we want black women. Black women are beautiful. Okay? They are the most beautiful women on this planet. We hate them today because we love them, if that makes sense. We hate their current condition this day because we love them. However, the effects of the hatred that we have to understand that we're not going to be able to get through to these black women if we've already condemned them. So this is the information that I gave to the Israelites tonight. And they all agree with me. How about that? They all agree with me. Even the young man who accused me of being an FBI agent, he came up to me, he gave me a big hug. He said, I love you, bro. I love you. He said, no FBI agent speaks words like that. He said, and I apologize for that. I told him, you don't have to apologize. He said, yes, I do. Yes, I do. He said, I learned a whole lot tonight. It reminds me of the song, I forget who created it. I don't recall if it was the Beatles or the Rolling Stones. I may be way off in terms of the groups that I mentioned, but all you need is love, bro. All you need is love. And love doesn't imply that you're not masculine. Don't get pacification confused with humility. Humility, because the only way that you're going to be able to understand what information to use, you have to become in humility. And therefore, once you become humble and you start walking in earth in humility, that opens up the mind, and wisdom and intelligence comes in. And when you stand there on the corners and you talk to people, and when you see these black women, it's not that you know how to approach them, because it's not a method. It doesn't become a method, Humility and intelligence, trust it. Because when you do speak to them, the right thing is going to flow from your mind and from your spirit. And they will stand there and listen to you. Because all you need is their humble attention. And just remember, you have someone in front of you that you love dearly, whether you know her or not. And when you understand this, then things will get better. With all of that being said, I have to go and get me some rest. But hopefully this was very much understood. And I hope this was explained effectively. But everything must be rooted in love, because you can't help those who you hate and you've already condemned. It doesn't work like that. Love through your anger. Love through your disappointments. Because if you're so caught up in your hurt and your disappointments, I see no reason why you're accumulating this information and calling yourself an Israelite, because obviously you feel as though the information that you've accumulated as an Israelite is ineffective to resolve the problems that we are having with our black women in this community. Do you feel that everything you know is ineffective in resolving this problem? That's the question you're going to have to ask yourself. Do you feel like what you know is capable of making that change? That's the question.